Hey folks, welcome to this week's Thursdays with Mike. I'm actually back on the NIH campus. That's the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda, Maryland. Came here with my daughter and granddaughter, who are both now checked into the clinic and tested negative on COVID, which is good because now everything can proceed. And that surgery is tomorrow, and well, we'll probably be here till mid-October probably. So, but it's beautiful. I mean, as you can see out the window there, I mean, it's, I don't know if you can see, it's probably just bright back there, but blue skies, lots of green, low 70s during the day, nice, clean, crisp air in the morning for morning walks and afternoon strolls and evening, just general lollygagging about down the sidewalks and paths around here. And then lots of reading and writing and such during the day. So I'm suffering immensely and isolated here actually better than I could be anywhere. Anyway, yes, suffering greatly. So you can all pray for me. Just have two quick things to talk about. Don't think I have a question from anyone really to deal with, which is good. I mean, I really don't have to have questions to find my peace in life. But anyway, yeah, two things. I do actually write the devotions. Typically, been doing that for probably about 12 years. You know, when people ask, when are you going to write your book? I always just tell them I'm writing it. I've been writing it for the last, decade, one chapter a week, essentially, which is kind of what those devotions that we've been putting out, which we now are calling Green Pastures. That's about what each week amounts to, is about a chapter a week. But anyway, it seemed like it was time to pull my daughter into a little bit more. We've kind of stretched her legs a bit with it periodically in the past, and stepping into the Gospel of Mark, it just felt like this might be a good chance for her to really run with it for a bit and develop her own voice and her own writing style. And simple reason for that being that over the last couple of years, and she probably doesn't want me to be mentioning this, but over the last couple of years, I've been telling folks that over the years I've been telling folks that, you know, I've memorized the letters of the New Testament, which, you know, people can think, ooh, wow, that's so amazing. But, you know, I think it was, I just wish I had actually memorized one of the Gospels instead of investing all those years memorizing Paul. The letters are important, but the Gospels are the center and the key. And I've said that so many times, and my daughter's heard me say that she actually took it to heart. This is something I think we can just say, wow. Our kids actually listened. One of my kids actually listened. It's amazing. But she took it to heart, and so she memorized the Gospel of Mark. I mean, the whole thing. She's got it. She asked me a few months ago how long I thought it would take to recite the Gospel of Mark, and I guessed probably would take a couple of hours. I'm thinking about 2 hours thereabouts, and that was about it. She said she worked through it, and that was about it, as I recall. But anyway, she's memorized the Gospel of Mark. We're doing the Gospel of Mark, not just to study it, but actually to see it as an invitation to actually embrace the Gospels as a practicum, as a practice. Let's try doing what Jesus did and doing it as a body together, like Jesus did with the 12, that we can actually find creative ways to do this together in our own clusters of 8 to 10 or 12, or however God organically brings us together. So I suggested, why don't you take it and run with it, see what that looks like. And wow, she's already like 5 weeks into it. And I just read the first weeks that came out this week, and I was just blessed by the brevity of it, and the simplicity of it, and Anyway, I'm hoping you enjoy that. So it's her voice you're going to be hearing. It's her words that you're reading, and they're not filtered through me. It's it's her. This is her on her own 2 feet. So I hope you will engage and encourage her, and be blessed through those reflections. And eventually I'll get back in there. I've got no shortage of things to do, read, or people to talk to, and things to busy myself with. It's kind of nice to see her running with it. So anyway, this is what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to reproduce. All right, we're supposed to replace ourselves. We're supposed to give it away, and that's what I'm really trying to do, so that those green pastures can become more of a group effort than a mic effort. Because let's just be serious, okay? A mic effort just gets really boring after a bit. All right. So anyway, Rihanna, you're amazing. Just keep running with those. And so there's that. And then I just wanted to read a prayer today. This is Eddie Helisum, whom I've on many occasions have shared, I think, in here as well as in the Green Pastures devotions. And I've brought Eddie with me again here to Maryland. I find this is not something I binge on. This is something that I just take an entry or maybe 2 every day or 2. And I've been working through it for some time. Eddie was a young Jewish woman in Holland who was seeing the noose of the Holocaust coming closer and closer. She knew it was coming for her, as well as for her immediate neighborhood and circle of friends. She knew it was just a matter of time. She knew that a camp was coming, and she was just trying to prepare herself mentally for it. And as you see that coming closer and closer, you can see her not tightening, but actually releasing and relaxing. And that didn't come without effort. But she just amazes me. Her voice in these journals from the early 40s. This entry today is from July 1942. Few things speak to me these days. To my life in the context of our pandemic, which is not a Holocaust, but her language is just so relatable in the context of what we are currently experiencing in the world at large, as well as just in the challenges in my own life personally. This voice just continues to resonate. So this is her Sunday morning prayer from July of 1942. And it'll strike you. Again, this is a Jewish woman. This is a young Jewish woman who did read the Bible, among other things like Rilke and so forth. But she's not a Christian. She was not explicitly a follower of Christ. She's a young Jewish woman, but yet she so embodies and evokes the beauty of like Matthew 6, and in the Sermon on the Mount, the look at the birds of the air, look at the grass of the field, don't worry about tomorrow. And that's very much where this prayer is going to be centered, as well as Philippians, the whole letter to the Philippians, and the contentment that Paul reflects in the midst of the spiraling chaos of his world and of his life, and in the midst of his own paralysis, as he's under 24-hour guard awaiting his appearance before a madman who ran the world named Nero. So anyway, the Holocaust was happening and nothing was stopping it. It was just rolling forward. And so some of this language, I mean, we might take issue with, but I think it's a beautiful outworking of faith on a very practical level. The fact is, we don't see God just rolling back pandemic any more than he just rolled back Holocaust. And so it seems like the world is just spinning, and God's spinning with it, as we also likewise spin with it. But anyway, I'll just go ahead and read the prayer. Hopefully it'll bless you. And then I was going to say, then I'll let you go, but you could actually leave any time that you want to. Sunday morning prayer, July 1942. I wrote over this, wow. So we'll see what you write over it. Dear God, these are anxious times. Tonight, for the first time, I lay in the dark with burning eyes as scene after scene of human suffering passed before me. I shall promise you one thing, God, just one very small thing. I shall never burden my today with cares about my tomorrow, although that takes some practice. Each day is sufficient unto itself. I shall try to help you, God, to stop my strength ebbing away, though I cannot vouch for it in advance. I just love that idea. I'm going to try to help you, God. Let me help you. So that's going to come up here again. God, let us help you to help us. It's just a beautiful thought, actually. Okay. So I shall try to help you, God, to stop my strength ebbing away, though I cannot vouch for it in advance. But one thing is becoming increasingly clear to me, that you cannot help us, that we must help you to help ourselves. And that is all we can manage these days. And also all that really matters, that we safeguard that little piece of you, God, in ourselves. And perhaps in others as well. Alas, there doesn't seem to be much you yourself can do about our circumstances, about our lives. Neither do I hold you responsible. You cannot help us, but we must help you and defend your dwelling place inside us to the last. There are, it is true, some who, even at this late stage, are putting their vacuum cleaners and silver forks and spoons in safekeeping instead of guarding you, dear God. And there are those who want to put their bodies in safekeeping, but who are nothing more now than a shelter for 1,000 fears and bitter feelings. Okay, if this was the book of Psalms, there should be a Selah right there. Okay, I'm going to read that one again, because it's just like, wow. And that's why it's like I had to be writing wow, 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 all the way down through this prayer. Okay, so in addition to putting their vacuum cleaners and silver forks and spoons in safekeeping instead of guarding you, dear God, there are those who want to put their bodies in safekeeping, but who are nothing more now than a shelter for 1,000 fears and bitter feelings. And they say, I shan't let them get me into their clutches. Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're not going to let them get us into their clutches. Okay, all right. To which her response is very simply, but they forget that no one is in their clutches who is in your arms. They forget that no one is in their clutches who is in your arms. I am beginning to feel a little more peaceful, God, thanks to this conversation with you. I shall have many more conversations with you. You are sure to go through lean times with me now and then. I love this image. God, you're going to go through some lean times with me, okay? Wow. The sense of connection that this young Jewish woman in Holland, in the midst of an unfolding Holocaust. Wow. You are sure to go through lean times with me now and then when my faith weakens a little, but believe me, I shall always labor for you and remain faithful to you, and I shall never drive you from my presence. I have strength enough, God, for suffering on a grand scale, but there are more than 1,000 everyday cares that leap up on me without warning like so many fleas. So I scratch away desperately and tell myself, this day has been taken care of now. The protective walls of a hospitable home still surround me like a well-worn, familiar piece of clothing. There is food enough for today, and the bed with the white sheets and the warm blanket stands waiting for me tonight. So don't let me waste even one atom of my strength on petty material cares. Let me use and spend every minute and turn this into a fruitful day. One stone more in the foundations on which to build our so uncertain future. Okay, I want to highlight that because I literally did highlight that here. Let me use and spend every minute and turn this into a fruitful day, one stone more in the foundations on which to build our so uncertain future. The jasmine behind my house has been completely ruined by the rains and storms of the last few days. Its white blossoms are floating about in muddy black pools on the low garage roof. On the low garage roof. There we go. But somewhere inside me, the jasmine continues to blossom undisturbed, just as profusely and delicately as ever it did. And it spreads its scent around the house in which you dwell, O God. You can see, I look after you. I bring you not only my tears and my forebodings on this stormy gray Sunday morning, I even bring you scented jasmine. And I shall bring you all the flowers I shall meet on my way, and truly there are many of those. I shall try to make you at home always. Even if I should be locked up in a narrow cell and a cloud should drift past my small barred window, then I shall bring you that cloud, O God, while there is still the strength in me to do so. I cannot promise you anything for tomorrow, but my intentions are good, you can see. And now I shall venture out upon this day. I shall meet a great many people today, and evil rumors and threats will again assault me like so many enemy soldiers besieging an inviolable fortress. Wow. Okay, well, there you go. That's a good morning prayer. Wow. So there you go. Let me use and spend every minute and turn this into a fruitful day, one stone more in the foundations on which to build our so uncertain future. Amen. I'll see you guys again soon.